Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back here today with an article from Time Magazine. And since everybody's jumping on this right now because it actually is pretty cool news, I figured what the heck, I will too. I am not going to read the entire article here though because it is very, very long. So I'm probably going to read like a third of it maybe. But it is linked in the description below if you want to read the entire thing because it is interesting. And it's the return of the direwolf from April 7th. Heard different things on this. My initial opinion is that it's cool to an extent. Like, it's, being a history person, just a fan of history, seeing stuff like this, it's like, wow, we're here at like a legit major scientific breakthrough. And hearing the little puppies howl was pretty interesting. Like, you haven't heard that in, what was it, like 10,000-12,000 years or something. And then I started thinking, I'm like, I don't know how much of a good idea it is to bring back larger than normal wolves that we have out around right now, and wolves are already pretty big. And like, what's that quote from Jurassic Park? Like, just because we thought about what's the quote that Jeff Goldblum says? Like, you never thought if we should bring them back. Like, you could bring them back, but you never thought if you should. Something to that effect. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. And again, I'm not going to read the entire thing because it is very, very long. So it says, Romulus and Remus are doing what puppies do: chasing, tussling, nipping, and nuzzling. Not nippling. What am I talking about? It's a Freudian slip. But there's something very unpuppy-like about the snowy white 6-month-old. Their size, for starters, at their young age, they're already measure nearly 4 feet long, tip the scales at 80 pounds. It could grow to 6 feet and 150 pounds. So just comparison, my parents have 2 Irish setters, and neither one of them are that long or weigh that much. And they're full grown, okay? And I'm talking about the 4 feet long and the 80 pounds. And these dogs are going to end up being basically twice or 2.5 times the size of their dogs. So anyway, so then there's their behavior. And this is where it started with being like a little bit of where I went like, oh, that's cute too. This could be a problem. It says the angelic exuberance puppies exhibit in the presence of humans, trotting up for hugs, belly rubs, kisses, is completely absent. They keep their distance, retreating if a person approaches. Even one of the handlers who raised them from birth can only get so close before Romulus and Remus flinch and retreat. This isn't domestic canine behavior. This is wild lupine behavior. The pups are wolves. Not only that, they're dire wolves, which means they have cause to be lonely. So their DNA is directing them to do what they always did when they were around 10 to 12,000 years ago. So it says the dire wolf once roamed an American range that extended as far south as Venezuela and as far north as Canada, but not a single one has been seen in over 10,000 years when the species went extinct. Plenty of dire wolf remains have been discovered across the Americas, however, and that presented an opportunity for a company named Colossal Biosciences. And here's the full picture of what it looks like, and let's keep going on here. You can buy a copy of the direwolf issue there. I'm not shilling for Time Magazine, but hey, it says right there, if you want to buy it, you can. It says, relying on deft genetic engineering and agent-preserved DNA, Colossal scientists deciphered the direwolf genome, rewrote the genetic code of the common gray wolf to match it, and, using domestic dogs as surrogate mothers, brought Romulus, Remus, and their sister, 2-month-old Khaleesi, into the world during 3 separate births last fall and this winter, effectively for the first time de-extincting a line of beasts whose live gene pool long ago vanished. Time met the males, Khaleesi was not present due to her young age, at a fenced field in a U.S. wildlife facility on March 24th, on the condition that their location remain a secret to protect the animals from prying eyes. Yeah, that's a good idea to keep that private, because otherwise there will be people going there to see them. Because the dire wolf isn't the only animal that Colossal, which was founded in 2021 and currently employs 130 scientists, wants to bring back. Also on their de-extinction wish list, and get this, because I did know about this before the article, is the woolly mammoth. I'd like to see those things walking around again. The dodo, which, okay, fine. And the thylacine, or the Tasmanian tiger, which people still think exists. I know people keep saying like they've had sightings of them, but no one has like actual proof. In fact, if you want to see something cool, it's not a real thing, but it's a Willem Dafoe movie I think it's called The Hunter. I own it. I probably should go rewatch it, but it's basically like him trying to find one of those. It's the most of the movie is just him. So if you like Willem Dafoe, watch the movie. So it's a pretty intense movie, but check it out. And if you haven't seen a picture of a Tasmanian tiger, go look one up. It's like a zebra fox is the best way I could describe it. Anyway, let's keep going here. It says, already in March, the company surprised the science community with the news that it had copied mammoth DNA to create a woolly mouse, a chimeric critter with the long golden coat and the accelerated fat metabolism of the mammoth. I wonder, I'm not going to click on that because I don't know where that's probably going to take me to. Is it another Time article? It is. Woolly mammoth. Check it out later. I'm just wondering what that looks like. I'm trying to picture it in my head. But it says, if this all seems to smack of P.T. Barnum, the company has a reply. Colossal claims that the same techniques it uses to summon back species from the dead could prevent existing but endangered animals from slipping into extinction themselves. And that makes sense. I understand that. It says what they learned restoring the mammoth, they say, could help them engineer more robust elephants that can better survive the climactic ravages of a warming world. Bring back the thylacine, and you might help preserve the related marsupial known as the quoll. Techniques learned restoring the direwolf can similarly be used to support the endangered red wolf. Yeah, I don't have a problem. Oops, went a little too far. I don't have a problem with like a company that knows how to do this going, oh, what are some of the like species that are like near extinction, or like what do they call it, like extinct in the wild or something like that. Oh, and there's the puppies howling. I'm not going to play the audio, but you can see them there. But yeah, like I can understand that, like trying to be like, okay, we need to beef up that population. But as for something that's like already dead, like I kind of go with my personal opinion is if it's extinct, leave it, you know. But I guess we'll see what happens. So we are an evolutionary force at this point, says Beth Shapiro, Colossal's chief science officer, speaking of humanity as a whole. We are deciding what the future of these species will be. The Center for Biological Diversity suggests that 30% of the planet's genetic diversity will be lost by 2050, and Shapiro and Colossal CEO Ben Lamb insist that genetic engineering is a vital tool to reverse this. Company executives often frame the technology not just as a moral good, but a moral imperative, a way for humans who have driven so many species to the brink of extinction to get square with nature. See, but I find that to be like an emotional argument, not like a logical argument. I think if like there's species that do certain things for their environment that are positive, that are in low in number, we should probably make should probably try to bring those back. But for ones, if we're just doing it to do it, it's kind of like, okay, you guys are smart and we can do that, but maybe we maybe we shouldn't do it for certain animals. And it's like, but we shouldn't just go, oh well, we've humans have killed so many, we should just start resurrecting all of them. Like that doesn't work for me. If we want a future that is both bionumerous and filled with people, Shapiro says, we should be giving ourselves the opportunity to see what our big brains can do to reverse some of the bad things that we've done to the world already. And again, that's an emotional argument. That's not really a logical one. But I don't know. They're smarter than me, that's for sure. There's the woolly mouse to a minor extent, and the dire wolves to a scientifically seismic one, are first steps in that direction. But not everyone agrees. Scientific history is rife with examples of newly introduced species becoming invasive species. Yeah, that's certainly true. It says the doctrine of unintended consequences biting humans when we play too cute with other animals. And that's kind of I guess that's a better way of saying why I am not a fan of this. Like that part of me that is not a fan of this, because I'm kind of in the middle. Like I can see them going, yeah, that definitely makes sense. As an exotic pet escapes and multiplies, decimating native species, and that's kind of it too. It says a toad brought in to kill off beetles ends up killing off the marsupials that eat the toads, right? Because it's all a chain. And genetic engineering is still a nascent field. Nearly 30 years after Dolly the sheep was cloned, and I remember that, the technology still produces problems in cloned animals such as large birth size, organ defects, premature aging, and immune system problems. What's more, cloning can be hard on the surrogate mother that gestates the cloned embryo. I didn't know that. Says there's a risk of death, there's a risk of side effects that are severe, says Robert Klitzman, professor of psychiatry and director of the bioethics master's program at Columbia University. There's a lot of suffering involved in that, and there are going to be miscarriages. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot. So what I'm going to read up to is just up until this bold area here, so these next two paragraphs, and then I'm going to finish. That's about not even a third, it's like a quarter or a fifth of the article, but still, like I said, it's extremely long, and it's linked below. But let's finish this up here. The still colossal scientists believe they are onto something powerful. Matt James, the company's chief animal officer, who once worked as a senior director of animal care at the Dallas Zoo and Zoo Miami, where he managed the welfare of 7,000 animals representing 500 species, felt the significance of the science when Romulus and Remus were just 5 or 6 weeks old. The staff was weighing the little pups, and one of the veterinary techs began singing a song from The Little Mermaid. When she reached a point at which she vocalized first up, then down, Romulus and Remus turned her away and began howling in response. That's probably what the video was that we saw a moment ago. says, for me, James says, it was sort of a shocking, and it just, there we go. Come on, ad, stop doing that. It was sort of a shocking, chilling moment, as these pups were the first to produce a howl that hadn't been heard on Earth in over 10,000 years. And I think it's a good place to actually stop, but I'm just going to scroll down here so you can see how much longer the article is. We'd be here, you listen to me drone on for like another half an hour from here. It just, and that's the end, so it's right about here. So, oh yeah, so we were probably like maybe a third of the way done with it. But in any case, going all the way back up to the top, what do you think about this? I mean, again, I think as a scientific accomplishment, it's absolutely incredible. But ethically, that's where I'm like, I'm still figuring this out in my head. Should we do this? Should we not? And that Jurassic Park quote comes to mind. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.